like early fall, 2017. This was over at Mountain Lake. There was a guy, his name is Tim. We had been friends for quite a while. We were really close. We would go out to this observatory pretty regularly, go out there at night. It always felt not safe to go out there by myself because you're in the middle of the woods. There's no one that can hear you scream. So I would like kind of drag Tim up there, and we're just talking, and I'm looking over towards the moon, and beside the moon was this star, like to the side of it, but it appeared to be getting larger. It kind of seemed like it was moving, and I was like, I don't think that's a star. And then I asked him, I was like, does that look like it's moving? And he was like, I was watching it and I wasn't going to say anything because I wasn't sure. And it kept getting bigger and bigger. It was coming over ridge after ridge after ridge of these mountains. It was just coming closer and closer. And as it got closer, we could see that it was this pink orb. Pink, orange, white, light. It looks like this orb was made of frosted glass, a sphere. And there was no sound, and it kept getting closer and closer until eventually it was like 50 yards away from us, hovering there, and it was big, like as big as like a tour bus. I was completely absorbed. Like, I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. Can you believe this is happening? Tim freaked out. He was like, we gotta go now. He was really scared. So I went up to the car, got in the car, and as soon as we started down the mountain, I went down one curve, and then you curve sharp to the right, and it's this windy road down. And right as we're going around that first curve to the right, another one pops up from behind the trees and comes right over our car, and it was fucking big. Tim was like, you gotta book it. I'm driving as quick as I can, but it's this really curvy mountain road, and we both had this really strange sensation of a magnetic pull. Feels like there's like a strap around my head that's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And then the next thing I remember, I'm pulling into his driveway down in Blacksburg, which is like 25 minutes away. I didn't remember getting the rest of the way down the mountain. I didn't remember driving down the highway like that. I was just like, whoa, I don't remember the drive back. I must have been like really out of it. So around that time, our friendship started to actually unravel a little bit. It was weird. He really didn't want to talk about what had happened up in the woods. It's not that he was saying it didn't happen, but it was just like, I'm not going to go there. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. He did have like a real reckoning of like, there's something bigger and I don't know how to look at that. Our friendship just kind of fizzled out. So I'm like, how old am I and what year is it? So I was like 30 years old. It was 2019, and it was about 10 o'clock, something like that. It was in the summer. I had gotten home and had parked in the driveway, and it was nighttime, and it was strange because the yard was bright, but what I noticed was this rabbit came out of nowhere, and then another one and another one and another one, and what ended up being like 20 or 30 rabbits running around my car full speed around my car, and then they would zip off and come back, and it felt so magical. I felt like there was some kind of like magic happening, and it was totally incredible. And it lasted what felt like 5-10 minutes, and then I don't remember what happened after that. Well, so the itch to scratch came up in November of 2021. So I met a couple of friends down on Oak Island for dinner, and we had a nice dinner, and then I had this really strong pull to go to a very specific spot on the beach, like on the other side of the island. I just followed my intuition. I got down there. As soon as I parked, I saw this really bright light over the ocean. I thought it was a helicopter. I got out of the car. Well, as I'm walking out onto the beach, I realized that's not a helicopter. It was like one light, but it would get bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller, and it would be white, and then it would be green, and then it would be red, and then it would be white, and then it would be red. And then it looked like light was coming off in right angles and spinning. So I called my partner and I was like, "There's a UFO, I think. I might get abducted. Ha ha ha." And he was like,
"Cool, take pictures."
So I did. And I took like a lot of pictures and videos. Well, I go home and I try to look at the videos, and all of them except for one or two of them are gone. Well, 2 days later, 2 or 3 more videos popped up on my phone as if I had just taken them. But the timestamp on it was for the next day or the day after that, but they were all taken on the 11th. It was really weird. Oh man, so much started happening after that. Yeah, I was 33. I turned 34 later that year. I'm 34 now. Yeah, so it's a beautiful day. Man, one of the prettiest days out there. And this nature park is gorgeous. And there's these tall pine trees. It kind of looks like a Dr. Seuss book out there to me. I love that place. But me and my dog, his name is Bear. He's this little pit bull with one ear that's folded over and one ear that sticks up, and he's just very sweet dog. We're walking down this trail that kind of winds back through the forest, and it's a mountain biking trail, so every once in a while a bike will fly past and I'll get Bear off the trail and he'll bark at the biker, and and then we keep going. He really does not like bikes. So we're walking and I'm kind of taking in all of the sights and the smells, the sounds. There's a lot of birds. And there's also snakes, lizards. Like you can hear things slithering in the bushes. The sunlight was coming through. This was one of the warmer days. It was early spring, and all of a sudden I see this flash of a tall blue light on the trail up ahead of me, maybe 10 or 15 feet ahead of me. Most people don't see blue light beings in the woods. I guess if there was someone else with me, maybe they would have seen it too. There's no way to know whether or not they would have seen it, but to me, like, he had flashed in front of me and I saw him for a moment, and then I was aware that he was still there, but I wasn't continuing to see him. So the being said that he was from the Pleiades, so he's from the ninth dimension. He's a Pleiadian being, and he's part of a Pleiadian collective. Well, I talked to him for quite a while. I just continued walking down the path and asking questions, and it was a lot of personal questions. And he told me that I need to do exactly what I'm doing: get out in nature, get barefoot, meditate, connect with the earth, stay grounded. Oh, and solitude came up a lot. He was talking about being alone. I didn't question it, honestly. It was so real and so natural. It gave me hope. It gave me a feeling of comfort that I'm not alone here. So this was like this moment of realization that, like, this has been happening my entire life. This has been happening to my family, to all of us, my entire life, and probably their entire lives, and probably their parents, and so on, like, but from there, I have been seeking answers nonstop. Okay. So, first regression, I had just met Amber and really liked her already. She was very sweet, loving person and seemed really knowledgeable. Yeah, her office there's no windows. It's pretty dark, and it's in the back of a healing space where there's like multiple healing rooms, and she has her office in the back of the building, and there's like, it's really beautiful. You come in and there's like tea everywhere and CBD and supplements and, like, just like all the holistic health stuff. And then they have like Reiki there, and they have a shaman who comes, and they have practitioners from around town who come and rent space and then do healings there. And her office was in the back, and it's very like low lighting, zero gravity chair, but like covered in blankets and pillows and stuff, and it's so comfortable. It was so nice. And she kind of did a interview with me to make sure that she understood like everything that that was kind of that I was coming in with and what I was looking for in the regression. And we didn't know at all what to expect. And since then, she's explained to me that, like, she never knows what to expect in a session. Like, it can go any number of directions. But so first regression, she put me under hypnosis. I go into hypnosis naturally. So we go back to the memory of the two orbs out at Mountain Lake. We watched the one orb come over the ridge and another ridge and another ridge until it was really close to us. I saw my friend freak out and say, "We have to go now," and like run to the car. And then the second orb comes over the car. So it's all the same memory, just as I had remembered it. But then the whole, like, it was like we were raising up into the air and becoming invisible. Like, I could see down through the bottom of the car down to the treetops. We started raising up into the air. We're going higher and higher up into the air. And it was strange because as this is happening, I'm not seeing the orbs anymore. The next thing I know, we're physical again. We're in the car and we're in this huge room on the ship, in this massive room on like a mothership. We were the only ones in there, me and Tim and my little gray Volvo. I look over at Tim and his mouth is like wide open, terror. I looked ahead to see what he was looking at. Tall gray comes over to my side of the car, and I didn't even see him open the door, but now the door is open. I get out of the car and we start walking towards the hallway that he had just come out of. We get into this hallway and there are several, I would say probably 7 or 8 small grays, 3.5, 4 foot, running around, and it was almost as if they were excited. There were a couple of them that would come up and like hold my hand and then kind of move away, and there were multiple ones that came up and touched me. And the communication was basically like, oh, can you believe it's time? It's time. Can you believe that? No concern, no anxiety whatsoever. They all kind of move away and we walk into another room. It's this really big, expansive room, darker, but there was like light around this chair. It was a chair that looked like a dentist chair. There were other tall grays, and we walked in and I was told telepathically to get in the chair. Everything in my body was telling me to run. Don't get in the chair. Do not get in the chair. You can't do it. No. But my body just did it on its own and got in the chair. So now I find myself in this chair, unable to move again. The tall gray who was with me in the previous room was still with me, and it was almost like he was, I don't know if he was there for like comfort. So he was looking at me, and he was like kind of holding eye contact. And there's all this activity going on around me. And I'm having all this sensation down around my stomach and my pelvic area. And at this point, I'm like panicking because I don't know what's going on. And I'm having all this pain, and like, I was crying. I was in the chair in the hypnotherapist's office and I was like bawling my eyes out. And I was like, what's happening? What's happening? And she said, you can step out of your body and watch this from an out, like you can step out and watch this from the side or watch this from above. So I left my body and I watched from above. What I saw was a delivery scenario. I see myself in this chair and with all of these grays around me and the one familiar tall gray standing there in front of me. And I'm basically watching a delivery occur. They handed her to me. She was like itty bitty, tiny baby. I knew she was a girl. She was not human, but I also knew that she was a lot more human than they were. I would say like 80% human or something. Looking at her, I started bawling, just like completely overwhelmed. And I'm looking down at her and I I knew that they were about to take her from me. I'm like holding this tiny little baby, and I know that they're about to take her from me, and I'm probably not going to see her again. And so there's like this desperate, like, please don't take her kind of feeling. And I got her name. Her name is Saya. At that point, because I was freaking out so much, she asked to talk to my subconscious, and immediately the crying stopped. My subconscious was very non-emotional and said that I agreed to be part of this hybrid program before coming into this lifetime, that I had agreed to help them because they were unable to procreate. She asked if she should take me back into that scenario to see what would happen afterwards, and my subconscious said no. Whenever they take the children away, that part gets really upsetting, and that I don't handle that part very well, and that after I have hybrid children, I go into like a deep depression after this happens, but I never know why I'm depressed. I haven't made peace with it yet. I'm working on it. It is a huge dilemma. Well, there's a lot of levels here. So there's the emotional level, the psychological level, and on an emotional level, I was on the ledge, and I just cried a lot, and I had a lot of anxiety, and I felt like I had completely lost control of everything. Not only what was going on in this scenario, but what it told me was there is no such thing as control. There is no such thing as safety. That is all an illusion. And it was really bringing up the question of like free will. Like, is there free will? I mean, on a psychological level, like, I mean, I got to the point where I was having a hard time focusing at work. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And there was this like major guilt coming up about, like, okay, like, how this must have left them wounded, like all, how could hybrid children not be wounded to begin with because of the scenario that they are coming into? That doesn't resonate. And what are they, like, living on ships, forever? Or are they aware of how I feel about having children? Because I've expressed many, many, many times that I don't want to have children. And I don't in this lifetime. And it's not anything against children. I love children. But, like, this is a lot to take in. So, like, I still have to go to work. Like, if I don't work, I don't have a house. Like, I don't eat. I have my dog depends on me. I have a partner who, we depend on each other. Like, so I still have to like operate in my normal life somehow. So I'm trying to like find this balance of how do I do both? Do you mind if I tell you just a quick snippet of another experience that might give you some more context? Yeah. So, in my last hypnosis experience, I was like 6 months old. I was in I was in the crib. My sister was in there with me. It was my parents' room, and my crib was in my parents' room. Mom was out hanging clothes on the clothesline, and this is when that massive UFO came over, and my mom was like looking up at the UFO, and then she doesn't remember what happened. What I saw was this tall gray walked right through the wall, and there was like light coming in the window, like a tremendous amount of light, and he was silhouetted essentially. And then I could feel my sister's fear coming from the right side of me. And then the gray looked over towards Jenny and did something and calmed her down. He did something and she fell asleep, I think, or he came and he picked me up, but he only had 4 fingers like on each hand, and he picked me up and he was cradling my head and holding me underneath my lower back, and he was looking at me and connecting with me. And in that moment, I knew that I carry his genes, that he was like my dad in some way. He was like my dad in some way. He was like my dad in some way.
Thanks to two great Toronto bands, UU for the track Staircase to the End of Night, and Lamping for the track Never Phoenix, and Austin, Texas-based Galen Curry for the tender track Cocoon Arms. If you're interested in learning more about these artists, you can visit the new music page at tuiarts.com/music. There you can also check out the music featured on past episodes as well. All right, folks, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay true in the meantime, and I'll catch you on the next episode.